Everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to the always informative, always entertaining The Boxing Authorities. Join me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. We have a very, very special show today. As you can see, we have friends of the show, guys that we respect, admire, and love, and we've had them on the show before. Joey Turk, thank you for being on the show. Promoter of and part owner of Integrity Boxing, Mike McSorley, and Mike Manna. Thank you guys for being on the show. All right, October 28th, big event at the Meadows, Hollywood Meadows Casino. Where was that? Washington, PA, I should know. Great event, great card. We're going to start with you, Mike. Before we talk about the main event, tell us a little bit about the card and some of the fighters.
This is a real exciting card. We have a couple pro debuts. Teddy Mercanja had a long amateur career here. Yeah. Really good fighter, fighting out of gold medal boxing. Is making his long way to pro debut. CC Clark, I call him the mayor of Market Square. He's got a popular gym down there. He had a lot of amateur fights. Trained with Tommy Ankello. Had a nice amateur career. He's making his long-awaited pro debut. Looking forward to having CC on there. We also have Steve Cunningham Jr., who is 2-0, 2 knockouts. He's going to be fighting in a 4-rounder on that card we're looking forward to. And then 3 other fights before we get to the main event. We're going to have some heavyweights. Moses Johnson out of Huntington, New York, the hometown of Jerry Cooney, is taking on a really tough guy. Izmir Riley out of Philadelphia, who's 3-1. That fight could be the sleeper of the night. 2 out-of-town guys coming to Pittsburgh, a 6-round heavyweight fight. Looking forward to that. Ivan Doncha is a Ukrainian fighter that I'm going to be training. He's 1-0. He's been living in North Carolina. Friends with my 2 Ukrainian fighters, and looking forward to having him on the card in a 4-round junior middleweight fight. And last but not least, Devin Siegfried, who's 2-0, 2 knockouts, cruiserweight, is also fighting on the card. He was just in an exciting fight. And Rich Kramer's card up in Butler, PA. Okay. So, and then of course, the main event.
Main event, which we're going to get to. We're going to get back with you with some more questions as well. But just paint a picture real quick. These guys are childhood friends, you know, and you fought, obviously. And I was thinking of 2 fights that came to mind when Pazienza fought Duran. They hated each other before the fight. Best of friends now. Holmes Cooney hated each other before the fight. Best of friends now. You guys are good friends to begin with, right? Yeah. And you fought already. You're going to have another fight. We'll start with you. Talk a little bit about how you guys grew up and met each other.
So, you know, Mike went to North Hills High School. I went to Oliver, and I used to hang out in the North Hills all the time. And, you know, we met through mutual friends, and there was a couple times where, you know, situations popped up, and, you know, a lot of times people talk a big game, but then when it's time to fight, they don't want to fight, and they don't show up. And so me and Mike had that same mentality where, you know, we was always ready to fight and always had each other's back, you know, when we was younger,
That's nice, Mike.
Yeah, we. I can't remember if we met that way or if it was from hooping at Jack Stack. I can't remember which one it was, but like he hooped for my dad's team, right?
Yeah, yep.
And you know, and then obviously because I went to North Hills and I met him through either Jack Stack hooping or probably breaking someone's head open. I don't know. But yeah, we just ever since then we just hit it off and just we're tight friends ever since then.
All right, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So the first fight, you know, went the distance. What's going to be, Mike? I'll start with you because you got the victory. The victor's over here. Mike, what's going to be the difference?
He's on the winning side.
He's on the winning side. You know, you're on the losing side with Smoking Jim.
Yeah, oh man,
we put the winners over here. What's going to be different this time?
You know, obviously he's going to try to win. I'm going to try to win. You ask either of us what's going to happen, we're winning. I mean, you know, we're just. I'm training as hard as I can to win. He's training as hard as he can to win. And if he would say anything less, I'd be offended. If I would say anything less, he'd be offended. We know exactly what to expect, so it's not like, you know, we're bringing something out of left field. I mean, we know what we're coming with. We want to do this, and this is something that doesn't happen a lot in boxing, especially in hometowns. So
Right,
this
right.
is significant. This is something that needs to happen. I seen people at our fight that I didn't see at my fights, and I didn't see at your fights, but they came to watch us fight.
Right, right.
That's huge. I mean, it's needed, man. It's needed. But what's going to be different? I don't know. We're probably going to try to win harder. I don't know. We're going to try to win. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
What about you?
I think we both put on a really good show the first time around. Just basically we gave the ref the night off. There was no clinching.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
A lot of back and
Fight,
forth
yeah.
action.
I hit him in the back.
Yeah, yeah, and that was an accident, But yeah, it was a respectful, good boxing match.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was entertained, and that's the goal, is to come out and put on another entertaining fight for
Heck yeah.
our hometown crowd.
Jim, before you, one thing that I noticed, you guys didn't notice it because you were fighting. People were focused on the fight. They weren't talking. They weren't joking around. They were focused on you guys.
Oh,
which
really?
which obviously is a credit to you guys. Usually during fights, people would, Luther was getting tuned up, and but everybody was focused on the fight.
I would see that before, but obviously we're fighting.
Oh,
so
you
I
guys
didn't
are
notice
busy.
that.
Yeah, Jim.
Well, I was a nervous wreck. I was neutral. I was sitting there, Claudio sat with all his white friends. Luther sat with all his black friends. I was just in the middle. But, it was hard for me because both of these guys I consider very good friends. And it was the same way when Monty Mesa Clay and Ron Salka fought. That broke my heart. You know what I mean? Who do you cheer for? Two guys that you love equally. But, this is the best thing for the 724-412 area.
There you go. Mike, how are you promoting this fight differently than, say, two other people? Now you got two friends, two they have a history, all that.
Well, it's you can't WWF this fight and try to have there be some kind of animosity. Because it wouldn't work, because people know that these guys get along. I'm just, appreciative that this was easy. The first and this one were easy fights to make. These guys, they're doing what I think everybody in Pittsburgh should be doing. And if you're in the same weight class, you have about the same experience, you should fight each other. That's what our history of the sport here has, dictated. If you look back over the years, Jim, you made a great point in the Salka and Monty Clay fight. That was the fight of the night on that card.
Yeah.
We were talking about that back in the waiting room with Joey and Mike, and I'm just real appreciative that these guys have always wanted to make this happen. There was no coaxing on our end to make it happen, and the public wants it too. So here we are.
To me, it's more of an event than it is a boxing match. But you guys have sparred, correct?
Yeah, I think we both got yelled at by Harry Spatafora, as a matter of fact. When I was first turning pro, Joey and I were sparring, and we didn't have headgear on. And I remember, it was either Paul or Harry. I don't remember.
Yeah,
was it Paul?
yeah.
Paul was like, what are you guys doing not wearing headgear? And our thing was like, I don't know. I don't know. I think you kind of get lackadaisical with it and take more shots, and you have that safety shield of like you got the headgear, and then it maybe hurts more. The studies have shown that. But when Paul speaks, we listen, so we put the headgear back on.
Yeah, I mean, Jim brings up a good point.
Thank you.
Finally, you brought up a good point. But like, we didn't get a Marty for Quan fight, so I'm glad you guys are taking that step. There's so many local fights
Dude, that would've
that
been
we
a
didn't
great
get,
fight, man.
and that would have
Yeah.
been a great fight for them, great for the fans, and just kudos to you guys for putting this on, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, Joey grew up boxing. It's funny, we both just said this recently, but like he went at Milligan's gym. I was there a little bit when I was a kid, and then I moved on. We moved into North Hills, and Joey kept on boxing. I kept on, being dumb, and I got into boxing later.
Right.
He, it's just something that should definitely be happening. Things like this that's what the sport's about. And like back in the day when people used to go to Friday night fights, you'd see like your local fighters fighting each other. You go to the shows with your dad, with his dad. I mean, dude, he took you everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
we
like
traveled everywhere.
You know what? I know what you're saying, and you're right. But I also, John Gaetano is one of the guys who loves you both, but he didn't want the fight to happen.
Naturally,
So is there a
yeah.
lot of that? Maybe from your families. You know, he mentioned your dad. Is there family members that say, "Oh man, why are you fighting, you guys? Why are you guys
I got
fighting
that.
again?"
Yeah. I mean, what I try to explain to everybody is, you know, it's like playing your friend in basketball.
Yeah.
you can't.
I mean, it's a little
It's
different.
different.
It's a little different, but it's at the end of the day, it's a sport.
Right.
And then, you know, we're competing, and then to ease their mind too, I'm like, we sparred without headgears on.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we sparred a bunch of times. And for me, I look at it like, you know, obviously you're trying a little bit harder in a fight than you are in sparring.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, we're grown men. We could handle ourselves.
And it's something that you can't explain to somebody unless they've actually been in there.
Right.
So, look at Gotti Ward. I mean,
I
Yeah.
loved it.
but
All three
what's
fights.
the main thing that most people forget? Those two were like brothers. Forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people can't make sense of something that they've never been through. So like, for me to explain that, for Joe to explain that to people, to say like, bro, we're gonna love each other probably even more after the fight. They probably think like, oh, you probably got too many hits in the head. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you can't explain. You know, and that embrace after that, give me your best, I'm giving you your best, and I don't know, maybe it's just a manly. I don't know. I don't
You know, Mike, again, most fights, they try, like Jim had talked about the Frazier Ali fight, there's tension. They try to stir up trouble. And they try, this is the exact opposite. So maybe emphasize that. Maybe that'll draw some, because the people who are going to come anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, and I think that, you know, both Mike and Joey are, you know, fan favorites. They've always done well in getting the crowds there. So it's,
no doubt.
you know, I think it's a no-brainer for people to come out and have a good fight. It was a competitive fight, and you know, first one. I'm sure this is going to be as well.
Well, like Mike said, no matter what you do, it's gonna sell out. It's gonna sell out. So you know.
Hey, Mike, you had a story you wanted to break on the show.
Okay,
I didn't
so
wanna- I didn't wanna get cut.
I touched on this backstory a little bit when we used to hoop.
Who's a better hooper?
Of course, Joey. I mean, I suck.
All right.
The only thing my dad would do when he put
He was a bruiser.
He was a bruiser.
That's it, dude.
Hard fouls.
But I didn't realize this until when I fought in the penitentiary. Not in the my last fight at the
You were allowed out.
penitentiary. Yeah, I was allowed out. I'm in the back, and I hear on the loudspeaker these two guys that I brought down get a shout out. One was Pat Mullen, mayor of Northside, right around the corner from my grandparents, and Sean Zach. Now,
That's my
one of the last times I seen Joey before we fought was in Butler, and Jack Mook was there. And Jack, the way I know Jack and Joey, was from hooping. And we both talked about this story, and it was the first time we talked about it in a long time. But since you know Sean Zach, I'm going to share this. One day, I don't know. I mean, just scrapping, you know, city kids and in basketball. Sean gets into some beef. This is so messed up to laugh at, but it's so funny if you know the guys. But like, Sean gets into a beef with somebody, and they start to. Oh, Sean, I'm sorry. They start to square up with him, and Sean squares up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm with the guy." Dude, his pacemaker went off. And he just hits the ground, and to visualize Sean, like he's probably like 5'6", and he's just a brick. And he hits the ground, and everyone's like, what the hell's going on here? Or what the heck's going on? Excuse me. And, you know, I don't think you've ever heard that story.
No,
and
I did.
to be there and see this was like, I can't believe I'm witnessing this right now. You know, it's just he just hit the ground, and but he was okay. He's okay, obviously. You know, I figured you'd get a kick out of that story. You
On
know,
somebody else's pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jim likes that.
We found out the pacemaker was still working good that day.
it was.
Now you guys have sparred, you fought each other in the ring and sparred. You don't have to reveal what, but is there anything that surprised you the last fight? You say, okay, I'm going to work on it the next fight? You don't have to reveal what.
No,
Is
yeah,
there pretty
I
much-
mean, just as a general idea, I think prior to the fight, it was a couple years in between from when we sparred and when we fought.
At least 5, I think,
Yeah.
because after we fought, I
You're
sent
pro-
you the memory of the
Yeah.
first time we sparred. It was 5,
together,
yeah.
yeah, 4 or 5 years. So there was like a gap in between. So obviously, he got a lot better from the time when we sparred till, the fight came around. So, I mean, obviously, I know I'm a little bit more prepared for this one because there's not as long of a gap between,
Sessions.
5 years of sparring
Yeah, right.
to a fight. Now it's just a few months, so.
Okay, Joe, Mike. Turn his pacemaker on here.
Yeah, right. Just same thing. I mean, I was cautious because he's got a lot more fights than me, and so I was just cautious of like just the knowledge and things like that, So I'm just looking for him to be sharper. Obviously, he's going to come in better, so I need to prepare better and do better. And there's really no secrets to it. It's just I expect him to try to beat me and see things that I wasn't aware of, and that's what I expect. Nothing really secretive about it.
I kind of want to just jump real quick. One heavyweight fight that's coming up. I'm upset about it. Jim loves it. Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou.
That's
Want to
thing
get
for
you
boxing.
terrible for boxing. Mike and Joe, what do you guys think about it? I hate it. I think it's just a money grab. Fury is a boxer. Ngannou, I'm glad he's getting a big payday because everybody in MMA is not getting paid what they should.
What was his biggest payday for MMA?
I don't know, but this is
Okay.
he's going to make more in this fight probably in his whole career.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's all you need to know.
Other than Taylor Swift, this is the best thing.
Oh,
for
come
sports.
on, Jim. What are your thoughts? The fight first of all, and what do you think about MMA guys coming over to boxing? Mike, and Joe, everybody.
So, I'll tell you this, okay, and most people might not like me for saying this, but an MMA guy has a better chance of survival in boxing than a boxing guy has a chance in MMA.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
As far as crossing over, obviously people want to see a show, but I don't like the fact that a guy who's 0-0 in boxing is coming and getting a shot at a title.
Is it a title shot?
I don't think. Is it? Do you know?
I don't think he would be sanctioned as such.
I don't know,
Right?
but it's still going to be huge money, and
yeah.
kudos to him. But like they're, I think that's kind of bullcrap. But then, in the same sense, like the Pauls and the KSIs of the world are showing you that you don't have to rely on things like that. You can do it yourself, which I think a lot of people should start really learning how to market and promote themselves. What do I think will happen? Well, obviously Ngannou has power. That's always obviously something you can't overlook. I obviously think Tyson will outbox him, but I think this is just another speed bump in the way to see him versus Usyk, who I really want to see. And when I was on the show years ago, and you can go back and look at it, I said a guy coming up from cruiserweight, and I couldn't remember his name at the time, who's going to be a problem is Usyk. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's because we're on the losing side.
Well, Usyk should have lost against Dubois because he got a body shot and laid
That was
and
low.
faked.
That was right
That
on
wasn't
the
low.
top. Right on the
That
top.
hurt. That was not low. That was terrible.
I don't think it goes by where you wear your trunks. I think it goes by the navel line. And so if you have them up high, they're going to say, okay, well, you can hit here.
Good point.
Mike would know better more than me.
I thought he just laid down. That was a hard body blow, and he stayed down. And
Your thoughts on the MMA guy fighting?
I mean, I see both sides of the spectrum. If you're looking from a business standpoint, you
Right,
know that it's
exactly.
going to draw in money. It's going to bring people from both worlds to MMA and the boxing. So from a money standpoint, I could understand it, but I really don't see it being a close fight at all. I think Tyson Fury's going to dominate him. And,
I don't know anything about the MMA world. Is he that popular in the MMA world?
yeah.
he's like the best
Heavyweight guy, yeah.
heavyweight MMA guy.
He's
Well,
got
he's
that.
not as popular as McGregor, who beat the heck out of Floyd Mayweather for 9
Floyd
rounds.
carried him, but that's another
All
story.
right,
You
Jim.
had him as the greatest of all time.
Jim, that's another L you took.
Wait a minute,
Just-
Garcia. Wait a minute, Luther.
We know you lost money.
Luther.
Just let it
Luther. Garcia was greatest of all time.
Right.
That proved that wrong. And then
McGregor,
McGregor was the greatest. So Jim's on a bad
Torres, all
streak.
these.
But I had Crawford over Spence for the
That's
last 3
one.
years.
That's one match.
I had Fury over Wilder.
I did too. Well, since he
Want me to
mentioned
keep
that,
going, or you want to?
if Ngannou gives Fury the cleanest shot possible, I say this and see if you agree with me. Fury doesn't have the greatest chin of all time, but he's got one of the best recovery chins, along with Muhammad and Larry Holmes. Okay, your thoughts on that? And if Ngannou catches him, Wilder didn't finish him. How is Ngannou going to finish him?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a blowout. But if he does catch him or makes it an ugly fight, I think Fury would probably be. Well, it all depends on the shot, I guess. I think he'd probably be able to weather the storm and finish him. My biggest concern would be if he got headbutted or if there was any damage that the Usyk fight could be in jeopardy, and that's a fight everybody really wants to see. Usyk, I think, could give Fury a tough fight. Fury had a tough time against Southpaw Otto Wallin. I mean, he still beat him
Otto
handily.
Wallin, yes.
But he was a
Still beat
boxer.
him handily, but he was tough. And Usyk's, got a very awkward, tricky Southpaw style. Anything's
So
possible.
Claudio, you're saying Fury don't have a Lennox Lewis chin. Is that what you're saying?
No, he does not. You guys might be, Jim and I remember when Muhammad Ali fought Lyle Alzado in Denver, and it was a sellout. Big money maker, was on ABC Sports, and Alzado got some shots in. And then you can see Muhammad said, that's enough, and then he just beat the hell out of him. I'm kind of thinking that Fury's going to make it like Fury and, not Fury, what's his name? Floyd.
Floyd
Floyd could have dominated him real easy. But he played with him, and then I think McGregor got a few shots, and he said, okay, that's it. Do you think that's going to be the type of thing? It's going to be kind of a show? But you don't play boxing, though. That's
Floyd
the
took a 9-round beating from McGregor.
Beating.
Yes.
How do you picture it going?
Well, I think that, like the big difference we was talking about Fury's chin and the possibility of him getting hit. And, I think big muscle-bound guys are less dangerous than someone that's wiry like Wilder.
I always said that.
So Wilder's I think Wilder has more power than Ngannou does.
Oh, without
You know what I
question.
mean? So
Without
he could
question.
afford to play with him a couple rounds before he gets him out of there.
Okay.
But
But at least the MMA guy's not retired like Wilder.
But how about is he taking a risk? I know he's making a ton of money, but is he taking
Who's
is
taking a
Fury
risk?
taking a risk by maybe
Yes.
having a poor showing, or would that maybe enhance? I know Luther was a few times. I forgot which fighter you said it was. He didn't do well. He won. He didn't do well, and everybody wanted to fight him. Like if Fury maybe doesn't have a good outing, would that maybe increase Usyk wanting to fight him? I don't know.
I think Usyk wants the money, he wants to fight him either
Yeah,
way.
yeah, that's what happened.
that match is made, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
signed.
think it's made.
Plus, what
made,
makes
so-
Fury so great is he can sell a fight. Wilder had headphones
Yeah, that was
on,
bad.
and
That was a
when
bad one.
Fury still sold the fight. He don't need anybody else. A guy can just sell a fight like McGregor can sell a fight. So it doesn't matter what he does, as long as he wins. He can
But
sell
this
that
fight, though,
Usyk
Jim,
fight.
Ngannou and Fury, it's not getting a lot of noise.
It's
from
not-
what
it's-
I-
Well, not in this country. This country is just small. The world is huge. Outside
It's
of
not.
this
It's
country.
Jim.
But this
Jim,
country
stop
matters
trying to
in
sell it.
paper.
It's not. It's not.
He's
It's
getting
not a
70
big-
million.
Nobody's
so they
excited.
love it outside this country.
Yeah.
Because
So I
we
just
don't
paid
have
everybody big
only
money, Jim.
heavyweights we got
Not
in
'cause
this
of
country
that.
is sitting here.
Come on, Jim.
We don't have any heavyweights in this country. That's why it's not popular in this country. But outside it, America's this small, Lou. The rest of the world is this room.
you
Nobody-
guys-
There's no buzz
You
about
should
this
travel
fight.
a little bit outside of Ghana.
There's no buzz about this fight, Jim, and you know it, man.
Is anybody here getting it?
No.
I am.
Oh, you
It's
know
the night
you
of
ain't
our
getting
fight, right? Ain't it the
Yeah,
same
I'm not
night?
getting
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Oh,
right.
that's right. It's the same night.
I'm
Well,
getting
then that's going to hurt their
Jim,
ratings.
you're not
not
taking-
yours.
I'm
Yeah,
taping
right, yeah.
it.
You're
I'm allowed to tape it.
I'll watch the result.
Yeah.
Actually,
You know, funny
they'll have it at the
We'll watch the
Meadows.
Sports Center
They'll have it at
highlights,
the
yeah.
sports book,
that's
afterwards. After
You
our
know what?
fight,
Funny
so-
thing though, we mentioned John Gaetano. He was in Florida, and he loves both of these guys. So he calls me after the fight. I mean, right after the fight.
Oh yeah, because the thing ran
He
out.
said, "Who won?" I said, "Me and who
Yeah,
won?" He said,
dude.
"You watched it," because I forgot it was you who helped me hook him up for the pay-per-view. And he, as soon as you guys were in the ring, they announced the winner. Right there, and you know John, he was mad. I said all the time.
Heated.
To do it. But we said the fight, but it really isn't a fight. it's an event. You know,
Yeah.
and to me, that's the way I look at it. And what are your thoughts on it? And how excited are you more excited for this fight than the last one?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because the first show was great, and I mean, you always want to improve and make it better. And more and more people are interested now in coming to watch the fight, and they heard how great the first one was, and so there's a little bit more of a buzz for this one.
Sure. And I like seeing the buses, which is to your credit with the posters and all that, which is promoting well. Your thoughts on this next fight as far as the event itself, more than the last one?
I think there's more of a buzz around it this time for sure because it was so great the last one. Everybody said like we fought our best fights, and I agree. And that's what's like missing. You have two guys who go back and experience each other throughout their whole lives, and I mean, come on, that's
It's
a
just a
beautiful
different thing.
Yeah.
It is nice.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And then when they had someone asked me this. They said, "What did you say to him at the end of the third round or at the beginning of the fourth round when you touched gloves? Were you talking shit?" I was like, "We're talking crap." Sorry. I was like, "No." I was like, when I touched his gloves, I said, "Dude, great fight, man. This is what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
This is what everybody was looking for.
Yeah.
That and more."
I
That's
think
what
they
I
wanted
said.
more. They wanted
Yeah.
more rounds.
Yeah.
More rounds.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
rounds?
How many?
is this
Yeah,
fight?
that's what it
Four.
is. Four rounds again. Okay.
We'll see about we got to get through this one first.
Right.
We'll see.
All right, Jim.
Not to change the subject, but just to talk about another fighter on the other card, Tugboat Cunningham. Maybe the best amateur fighter I've ever seen. I'm not just saying that because he's a Gateway High School graduate, but just
There he
talk
goes.
about Tugboat Cunningham a little bit and his potential, maybe to be a world champion down the line.
Yeah, he had great, as you mentioned, Jim, great amateur career, trained by two-time world champion, his dad, Steve. He's been tough to match because guys, when you have two first-round knockouts, guys aren't lining up to accept that fight. So we will get a match. We have someone we're talking with right now, but he's a rangy southpaw. He's got power and just a real great attitude. So I think sky's the limit for him. Looking forward to seeing his career develop, and he's young too. So
What's his weight?
he's fighting this one at 154, 154 or 160, depending on who we get. But
Like Charlo wasn't.
yeah,
Come on, man. Leave Charlo alone, man.
yeah. But it'll be great to see his career because he's still growing into his
Yeah.
body, and very strong, and it'll be fun to watch him for years to come. So.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back with our very special guests, Joey Turk and Mike Manna. So come on back to the Boxing Authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. We have a very special edition today. It's all Pittsburgh, which is obviously a great historical Pittsburgh city, which we did a nice piece on that a while back. But Mike, you mentioned Ted Mercanja. Now, he's had a pretty good amateur career. You expect that amateur career, because as you know, amateur is much different than pro. Mike will tell you that as well, but what do you expect out of him?
Yeah, I think Teddy will have a great pro career. He's in the gym. He was at our gym just a week or two ago, sparring with Oleg and Sal. He spars Jerome Baxter, another pro out of his gym. So he has a lot of pro experience in terms of like gym rounds, and he's fought all over the country as an amateur against some really elite guys that are top pros now. So I think his transition will be pretty easy, honestly. And Teddy's another guy like Steve Cunningham Jr. who's getting stronger. I mean, I can't believe he's fighting at 135 because he's a big, strong guy. I thought he was like a welterweight. He looks like a welterweight. But
I remember him and Josh Mook fought at the Silver Gloves at Scott Bradley's gym. They were like 98 pounds or something like that.
yeah.
All right. Luth?
You said there's a heavyweight from New York, Moses. What's
And are either one of your fighters?
They're not. They're not.
okay.
They're coming into town, neutral turf, to take this fight. I don't know much about Riley, who he's fighting from Philly, but he's 3-1. He's beaten some pretty good guys, so these are guys without padded records. Johnson is coming off of a loss and a draw, so he's got something to prove. And he's been matched very tough in his career, so that's not a padded 9-1-2. That's he's been in some pretty deep waters and is going to be in again. So and that's a 6-round fight. So we're looking forward to that. There's really no hometown advantage for either guy, just like this fight. 2 hometown guys, but I'm looking forward to that. That one could be a sleeper of the card.
And maybe one of my all-time favorite fighters, and boy, did he come along in the last 2 years. The police officer, Siegfried.
Oh, yeah.
He knocks everybody
Oh,
off.
that's the
man.
guy you were telling me about. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
That's going to be exciting. Devin's got real power, and former PA State Golden Gloves champ. He's trained by our good friend Jack Main out in Elwood City, and Devin just is a real workhorse, has a great attitude, and he's he can really bang. He can crack.
Ooh, then again, we may not get his bow hunting season out now. We may not get the crowd we
That's
expect.
Ray Boom Boom Mancini one time was getting ready for a fight. He's looking in the mirror, and somebody in his locker room said, "Ray, what are you looking in the mirror so long for?" He said, "Because I'm never going to look like this again after this fight." Right? Now, that's the pre-fight stuff, right? So people see you guys in the ring, and they may even see you training. What's it like? What is your preparation prior to a big fight like this? We'll start with you. And I don't mean 3 days. I'm talking about the day of.
The preparation the day of.
What do you do?
Well, Joey's a
What do you eat?
good-looking guy. He always gonna look in the mirror.
I mean, like, what do you do prior? Your eating habits. Do you guys get to the arena, way early, later? What do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, this was my first experience of being on a main event. So there's definitely a long waiting
loved
period. Yeah, from the time that you got to check in till the wait time. So, the day of the fight, I'm eating pretty light, focusing on the game plan, just a lot of visualization of how I want the fight to turn out. And
You by yourself?
no, in the back locker room, I'm with. I got Marco Mackey.
Oh,
and,
sure.
Yeah, and
He goes to
my
the
guy.
Italian store to get his ornament.
I said that to you one day.
Now, here's a question everybody wants to know. How long do you guys got to stay away from the women? 3 months, 6 months before a fight?
Women
8
weaken
months?
legs.
Yeah. Is that true? You got to stay away from women?
I just read an article on that's made up, but I don't know.
Really?
I heard.
That's
Bud-
what I
Bud
heard. It's
Crawford
made up.
said it's not true. He said unless you're trying to be an adult movie star, it doesn't matter. Bud Crawford said that.
Women weren't kicking the door in to get the Bud Crawford.
I'm just saying what Bud said.
Okay, I'm just
What was Bud
I
said?
mean, I don't want to test the theory. I don't want to be want to test it and be wrong.
Your pre-fight preparation the day of.
Well, it's just all mental.
Sure.
You eat light. You know what I mean, and you try to go over a game plan and things like that. I'm trying to think of my most crazy day that I had as a pre-fight preparation. I was really beside myself was when I fought Aziz Abez from Italy, and I never asked for a beating in my life. I got one, but I was fighting this dude. He turned 18, I think it was like 2 days before I fought him, and I asked for it. I said, I don't know if I'm going to go pro or not. I said, but if I fight someone, I want to fight the best. I want to beat the best. I want to lose to the best. And that day, and I met him, nice kid, and I'm trying to translate for everybody and everything, and it was exhausting, but it was nerve-wracking because, I mean, he just turned 18, he's got a lot of wins under his belt, and he's just won medal after medal and all these qualifiers, and I'm sitting there before the fight like, dang, dude, I'm 30, whatever the heck old I was, I'm about to fight an 18-year-old kid. This kid's jacked. He's a southpaw. He's quick. He's got wins all over the world. How am I really going to do this? And somehow or another, it got brought up about fighting without headgear. And we faced some crap for it, but I knew that if I caught him, that was probably my only chance to win. So I elected to fight with no headgear. But, bro, I look like my face was just black and blue for the rest of the rest of the week. Like he's amazing. Like you got to follow him on Instagram, Facebook,
What's
whatever.
his name again?
Aziz Abez, Abbess.
He's Italian?
Yeah, well, his father, I think, was something up, but he was born in Italy. He's Italian. His mother's Italian.
Yeah,
But he was born there. Yeah, he was born there. Yeah, he's unbelievable, man. 2024, I'm telling you, he's gonna win a gold in Paris. I'm telling you.
Now, no offense to you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, before the fight, what we do, I don't know, try to mentally prepare. I mean, there's really no
I see,
magic
like, when
to
he
it.
passes the locker room, he's drinking espresso. He's all half cocked. He's all wound up. He doesn't sleep the night before.
I can tell you what you don't want to do, and this is why I changed my opinion on Fury and Wilder the first fight. I thought Wilder was going to win because he's knocked almost everybody out that he fought. You don't want to be antsy. When I seen Tyson Fury in the back just chilling like this, and then Fury up pacing, when I saw Fury chilling and Wilder pacing and everything, like I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And that's something, you know who taught me that? I guarantee he taught you the same thing. How to be chilled before a fight. Paul Spadafora. I'll never forget it. Probably the same thing with you.
Wow.
Dude, oh my God.
Is that the fight that Wilder said he was drugged? He was walking like that?
Oh
the
my
second
God,
fight.
he
That
did
was the
say
He
second-
said
that.
he was drugged.
No, that was
Yeah.
the second fight when he brought his girlfriend into the locker room. Or who's his
Jim
wife
did not
now.
like her.
Yeah, that was he was tired
Jim,
of
what are
carrying
you
the
talking
equipment.
about, Jim?
That's the second fight. First fight, he knocked.
You talking about his
down.
woman? I said he was,
Well,
he
you
said he
can't
was
bring her-
drugged, Jim.
You can't bring her into the locker room before the fight, Lou.
But yeah, that's exactly what you don't want to do. You don't want to be antsy and things like that.
Marciano used to fall asleep. You
Yeah.
just have to wake him up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, no offense to you guys, who's probably the most nervous before a fight. Am I right or wrong?
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
Until,
we
the,
can
bell,
have enough
until the
people.
bell rings, there's a lot of uncertainty. Until those two guys are in the ring.
Because you have a
that
bunch
first
of
bell-
fighters to worry about, the
Yeah.
attendance.
Yeah.
Make
So
weight.
talk about some of the things you have to worry about.
Yeah, just, getting the guys there. Pennsylvania has a very strict commission, so making sure they have all their meds in on time, that's a key thing. And guys sometimes do get cold feet. So, we've had times where we have a contract signed, medical's in, the guy shows up, where is he fight night? He's
Right.
MIA. So, till they're across the ring from each other and the bell rings.
Your guys known for doing that. Your
Remember
buddy?
the guy who fought, I think, F.A., a jog guy.
Yeah, he
Oh, he
He
stepped
stepped right
he
out of
stepped
the
in
ring.
the ring
Yeah,
and
I
stepped
remember
out.
But he
that.
got paid because once the bell rings, you still get paid.
Oh, they did give
Yeah,
him
that's
money?
why he
And,
did
and,
that.
and there
That's
was
why he
some
did that.
background on that too. He was not told that it was a televised fight, and the money they gave him. From
Oh,
what
is
I
that
was
why he
told,
walked out?
There was some background story on that. I don't know the particulars, but apparently he didn't know it was televised. He was walking out, and someone said this is going to be on the air, and he didn't have that in the contract. And apparently he said if this is a
walked
swing
out?
bout and I get paid, and it's televised, I want paid a different amount.
Yeah, right.
I
I
give him
agree.
credit if he
I
went.
agree.
I thought he looked at the guy's body and said, looked at his
Yeah.
and said,
That's the way they made
looked
it
that
appear.
way.
Yeah.
It looked
Yeah,
that
That's what
way.
they made it
but-
look like.
Was it only me? But can we all agree that ever seen this guy fight or in the gym, that one of the most underrated fighters in southwestern Pennsylvania was Harry Spadafora. He was a beast,
all
man.
day.
He was. I know you don't know nothing about it, Lou, and you might not either,
Dude, he was
Claudio,
on,
because
he was
that
on
was
the USA
back
traveling.
then.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's unbelievable.
He was unreal fighter.
Now, let me ask you guys, we talk about it all the time.
Anytime I say something, they change subject. Go
Well, no, it's
No,
in a sense,
legit. Go ahead.
because it sounds like Harry fought a lot.
Yeah, he was something.
Okay.
He was something else.
What are your thoughts about these guys? Like Wilder hasn't fought in what?
He's
Yeah.
retired, in my opinion.
I mean, he fought one round against
Against his old sparring partner.
somebody
that he
like
knew he was
Lanius.
gonna knock
What are
out.
your? Now, I know you can't fight 4 or 5 times, although the older guys did. But what are your thoughts about that? And if Joey Turk were a commissioner, you guys were commissioner of boxing, what would you do differently?
I mean, you definitely have to be active.
Thank
You
you.
can't be taking 2-3 years off at a time, prior to going into it. But you still, as a commissioner, you still have to give them the opportunity to fight. Because if that was the case, then, I took off 10 plus years and then stepped into the ring, but I was really retired from boxing, and decided to come back. So,
But these guys are still in the rankings, and something we talk about was when
Well, that's different,
LaMotta,
yeah.
not LaMotta. Yeah, Raging Bull fought Sugar Ray
Sugar
Robinson.
Ray
It was like
Robinson, yeah.
4 weeks, 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry, Jim.
one thing I agree with Joey, that the greatest thing for boxing today is Richard Torres.
Oh, come on.
He didn't even.
Don't crowbar that in. Come on, Jim. Oh, God.
Joey held up the flashcard for that one.
That's when it went south.
I totally agree. You have to be active. It definitely plays a factor, especially like sparring, but like until you get in front of a crowd, that's why you have such things called like gym fighters, because they can do everything in sparring, but when they get in front of the lights and in front of the camera and everything, they kind of freeze, you know. But I think it's good to be active as fighters were back in the day when Harry Greb fought 45
Maybe a little
times
too
a
active.
year.
45 and 1
Yeah,
year.
which is why you have people still think like you know, Joey and I are both 40 now, right? Okay, like, oh, you're 40, shouldn't you be retired? Like, it's not like it was back in the day. And George Foreman didn't win his first title until he was 46. So you know, keep watching fights from the couch.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
it definitely isn't like it used to be with fighting as often, because that's how people really paid their bills. You know, and there were so many different things back then too. You had a lot of suspect things that were going on in boxing. You know, a lot of suspect things. You know,
Really?
now
In boxing?
you know, now it's very, very protective. You know, the athletic commission here, you know, they're
Strict.
good.
No doubt.
They're
Very
good.
strict.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I can't say anything about that. They're very strict. So I think that's a good thing to
Turk
really
is
protect.
retired.
Yeah, he just retired, and you have Ed Kunkel, I believe, is the commissioner. You know, I don't know him. I never had any experiences with him, but I'm sure he's going to do a great job. But
Any farewell party for Sir? No.
no,
wanna
not
throw
that,
him one,
not
Jim?
that I ever seen.
I'm just
Send it
asking.
out,
I like parties.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. If I was commissioner or anything like that, what would I change? I don't know. I mean, not really.
Jerry Cooney said he would have, especially the big fights, donate $1 from the crowd, from the fighters, something, and give it to less fortunate fighters.
I like that.
I would say if I was going to
Riddick
do
Bowe.
something for those
Give it to Riddick
for those
Bowe.
former fighters, do something for them. Your thoughts? And what would you do if you were commissioner?
You mean in terms of mandating it like a charity or
boxing,
something? Yeah, I mean, I think they, you know, sometimes they base the approvals on fighters' records, and I think they need to go a little bit away from that, because there's a lot of undefeated fighters that couldn't hold a candle to some 10-10 fighters.
Yeah, that's good.
So
Yeah,
you
I
know,
like
I think
that.
you have to really look at who the guys have fought and base it off of that, than age or that. Now, Pennsylvania does a great job with the medicals. They really, I mean, it's all about the safety. We want these guys all going home to their loved ones in a safe manner. So PA does a great job on that, where a lot of states don't. But
Boy, can you beef your record up in West Virginia?
That's true.
We have a couple more minutes left. Jim Luther,
Hey,
anything?
let's get a mailbag in. What we have, just a quick mailbag
Okay.
question. I think
All
that would
right.
be good.
Okay, real quick, we haven't done one. Luther and Jim. This is from Willie from Oakland. I'm with Claudio. AJ, this is a good one. Anthony Joshua is not a Hall of Famer yet. If AJ loses to Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, I say his chances are done. Burbage, Tate, Pinklin, Thomas, Bruce Sullivan were all champions. We'll ask you
AJ's
guys.
a Hall of Famer.
I don't think he's a Hall of
He's
Famer.
going to the Hall
Hall
of
of
Fame.
Fame. AJ.
He's
Already.
going to, but I don't. For me, if I was voting, I would not say. You think Anthony Joshua's a Hall of Famer?
That's a
So
tough
he's
one.
thinking about it.
Yeah,
So that
that
means
is a
no.
tough one.
If you have to
Yeah.
think about
He's a
it,
unified champ, two-time unified champ.
let me ask you this: is Jim Frazier a good guy? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so
No,
you thought about it right
absolutely-
away. You didn't have to
absolutely
think
not.
about it. A Hall of Famer.
I have to say no.
Oh,
Wow.
Are you
I'd have to
serious?
say no
Yeah.
as well.
Wow.
If you look at the caliber of the people he's fought,
He was a
you know.
unified
unified
champion.
champion. I don't like
Yeah,
AJ,
but
but he's
you can unify
Brad-
a lot of things. That
Bradley's in the Hall of Fame, so everybody's
right.
going.
That-
Everybody's
if Tim
going.
Bradley could get in, AJ's definitely in.
You know what? Real quick, one thing I do want to end. We have 1 minute left. Your thoughts on Mike Manna, the person. Your thoughts on Joey Turk, the person. We'll start with you.
Honestly, dude, I love him. Forget about it.
His
I mean,
curse
it's
words
all-
just fly out,
it's-
man.
it's-
That's real.
Yeah, he's
the way
somebody
it is.
that you could count on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You could count on Mike. you ask Mike for a favor, he'll be there for you. You know. Yeah.
Your thoughts on Smoking Jim?
Not a good guy.
No,
Jim's the best. Jim's the best.
Hey, I work with
When
the
he has
two
his
best.
medicine.
We have 3 great guys here, and I work with the 2 best, Luther and Jim. And this week, we're going to find out. And we were nominated for 2 Pittsburgh Greater Cable Awards. Hopefully, we should win 2. But Rocky Marciano said, if I told you I wasn't the best, I'm lying. If I said that I am, I'm bragging. We're the best. All right. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did. Talk to you guys soon.